Welcome back, young apprentices. We're going to have a whole lot of fun with this lab that we're about ready to take on. But first, let's talk about where we've just been. So we should have covered the tape measure, so you've learned about the relationship of the number of lines between each whole number, no matter where you are in the tape measure. It's either 16 little lines, right? We call them little lines, 16 of them, or 32, right? That's it. So I want you to keep that in mind as we take on the 1-inch dragon. So what we're going to do is you should already have your labs out. This is going to be the Tape Measure Lab 1 sheet, and it's pretty obvious because there's really nothing on it except at the bottom, and it is labeled Tape Measure Lab 1. So once you have those, I've got mine, I'm ready to go on my work surface, and we're going to successively fold this paper, and we're going to turn this piece of paper into 1 inch. And the purpose of this lab is to help you realize from a different perspective what all the lines mean in that 1 inch. So let's get started, okay? We're going to take, the first thing we're going to do is take this piece of paper and we're going to fold it in half one time, quite simply. And I'm going to make a nice, I use my thumbnail very often when I want to get a nice crease. And it's particularly useful when you're folding multiple times or folding multiple pieces of paper, okay? So now that I've folded my piece of paper, again, it's 1 inch across. That's what we're imagining, right? So it's 1 inch. Now, how can we improve this so it does look more like an inch? Well, if we start labeling these folds, you'll see exactly how this takes shape. And this is where it gets to be fun. And hopefully something inside lights up and it helps you see the relationship to this exercise in an actual tape measure. So what I want to do is, well, how do we do that? I don't want to start with the beginning of the tape measure because this would be 0 and this would be 1. Let's just pick anywhere on the tape measure. Let's say 22 and 23, right? 22 and 23. It's still just an inch there, just as 0 to 1. We're going to say 22 or 23. So on the very left edge of the paper, I'm going to write 22. And that's going to remind me that that is where we are on the tape measure. Of course, if I write 22 there, then across the way, 1 inch further, I'll write 23. Again, these represent the very edges of the paper. Well, remember, we folded our paper, right? And we folded it in what? We folded it in half. So, if we look at the crease from that fold, I'm going to draw just a short line coming down the middle to help me see the middle of the paper. Underneath that, I'm going to write 1 out of 2. 1 out of 2. Okay? So here's 0 out of 2 at the 22 mark. 1 out of 2 over here is 2 out of 2, right? So now what we want to do is take our paper and we're going to fold it again. And it doesn't really matter which side of the paper you chose to do your lab on. There is no right or wrong there. You'll still get the 1 inch dragon either way. So I'm folding it a second time, and I am using my thumbnail to make nice strong creases, mainly so that I can see them once I unfold them. Now, what do we have here, right? Let's count each section here, right? Because we folded it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So over here on the left edge, I'm going to write 0 out of 4. On the next crease, I'm going to write 1 out of 4. And the next crease in the middle, I'm going to write 2 out of 4. And come across to our last one, 3 out of 4, before we get to the edge of the paper. And I'm going to go ahead this time and write 4 out of 4. Okay? Okay, now that we've done that, and you might be able to see the pattern of what's happening here each time we fold this, right? We're only folding it one time, one additional time, but because it's been folded twice before, it kind of makes a lot more folds than just one. It doesn't just add one fold. So let's take our 1-inch dragon. It's a 1-inch dragon the way it sits right now, but we're going to make the 1-inch dragon more interesting by folding it one more time. And this is that fold. I'm making my creases. I'm going to open this back up. And I think you know, some of you are probably already ahead of me. You're going to count the cavities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you know what to do with these? Do you know what to write next? Well, let's get started. The easy part, we always start at the left. Don't start in the middle of your worksheet. You're going to be 0 out of 8. I wrote the denominator first, but it's 0 out of 8, right? And then I'm going to come to 1 out of 8 and 2 out of 8. And I don't think I need to go all the way across the paper. I think you get the hang of it. So once you go all the way across the paper, we know this. The last fraction on the end is going to be what? 8 out of 8, right? So you should be able to fill out the rest of these numbers. And then after you've done that, I want you to just do it one more time. Let's fold it one more time. And if we fold it one more time, here is what's going to happen. We're going to fold that one more time as so. Okay, it's getting thicker now. Take your time. And you can have a pretty nice 1-inch dragon when you're done. And I'm going to open this thing back up. We're going to take a look at it. Wow. Flatten that out. Now I'm going to count my cavities. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to find 16 cavities here, right? You'll find 16 cavities. So you know the drill. 0 out of 16, that line out of, 0/16 is the fraction. And then continue across the paper until you've got your 1-inch dragon properly marked. And when you do, your 1-inch dragon should look like this, with all the numbers neatly on here. Now, don't worry about how neat your work is. As long as you can read it, that's what's most important. But get yourself another piece of paper and do it again if you'd like to make it neater. These are really cool. Now, here's the thing that I want you to take away from this exercise, is that I want you to notice the relationship of the fractions as they are stacked on your creases, right? You have at the bottom 16ths. Interestingly enough, that's the exact number of the little lines on your tape measure. Remember, we said every tape measure has 16, and some tape measures even have 32. But you've made a 1-inch dragon here that represents 1 inch of every tape measure that has those 16 lines. But the relationship to the fractions at the crease, if you look up at any one of them, you'll see, I'll go to, let's see here, 4/16. Let's look at 4/16 on your 1-inch dragon at the very bottom there. And you go up the crease and you say, oh, 2/8 when we were doing the eighths, right? When we had only folded it into eighths. And then if you go further up, you'll see 1/4. And that's when we only folded it into fourths, right? So the relationship is simply this. It's mental math. If you were asked to reduce a fraction of 4/16, in your head, you may not get it right away, but the natural progression in your mind is to divide, and you know this, to divide the numerator and the denominator by 2. And if you can do that, it'll take you to 2/8, because the 4 on the numerator is divided by 2, and that's 2, so that becomes your numerator at the eighths. And the reason I know it's the eighths is because the denominator in the 4/16 is divisible by 2, and that's how you get the 8. So 4/16 is 2/8 when it's reduced. But can you take it further? Well, you know that because you made the 1-inch dragon. It's all right, it's 1/4, right? The 2 is divisible by 2 one time, and the 8 is divisible by 2 4 times. So that's 1/4. So that's the mental math that goes on. So you should be able to see this relationship and appreciate it, and it helps you read a tape measure and understand the relationship between the fractions. But I think it's a beautiful picture. What you have drawn a picture of is what goes on in your head when you do mental math. And that's another beauty for the 1-inch dragon. So I hope you've enjoyed this exercise, and I just have one challenge for you if you'd like to take it a step further. And I'd really be interested to see some of your work after you try. And that is, we folded it into 16ths. Can you fold yours into 30 seconds? Can you do that and come out with 32 categories or 32 folds in your paper? Well, there'd be a whole lot of numbers on there. But remember, some tape measures are just like that. They're in 30 seconds. So it would be worthwhile. All right, that'll be it for today. And we'll see you again soon.